As of today, this is what we expect: to ban the use of mobile phones in school. We get distracted as adults on our mobile phones.
For years, Africa was criticized to be too traditional, too manual, too focused on chalkboards and exercise books. And we were told to change. We were told to bring tablets into classrooms, replace books with screens, and follow the West. But today, something shocking is happening.
They're even more distracting to younger children. We know that they can affect their development, they can affect their social skills. You know, they could quite often be sat on their phone as opposed to using those precious moments really to make those new friendships.
Europe is now doing the exact opposite that they once told Africa to do.
They still should have phones to get in touch with people, but not in class time.
They should be given everything, the iPads, iPhones. Yeah, they'll be smarter than us then, innit? If they've got enough practice at a young age.
Yes, the same Europe that led the digital revolution in education is now banning smartphones, smartwatches, and even digital devices in schools. Not slowly, not partially, but with full policy, some starting immediately, others rolling out from 2026.
Are you comfortable with this additional guidance?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that keeps mobile phones, smartphones in particular, in the spotlight is going to be beneficial for school leaders, I think. We need to keep that narrative going.
And the reason literacy is failing, students are losing focus and the classrooms are becoming distracted environment. And in this video on Kweku Africa, I break it all down to you. And all that you gotta do is to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
Now let's take a step back. So across Africa, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in all the African countries, across Africa, students have always learned the traditional way, writing in exercise books, reading from printed textbook, and learning on chalkboards and marker boards. And for years, the system was criticized. In fact, Africa had even wanted to change. A lot of African countries are trying to change. I can recall that in my country, Ghana, the president has tried to give laptops to the teachers, and students are also being given notepads and some other things just to help them, catch up with the digital revolution. We've been criticized heavily. Schools are even, I remember the school that I used to teach, they brought us Wi-Fi, they brought us, but the reality is that we couldn't afford it. We could not afford tablets for students, we could not afford mobile phones, or even, have Wi-Fi for the entire school. We could not afford it. That has been our situation. In fact, if we had that money, we would have done it, because a number of African presidents somewhere have tried to bridge the gap, just so that we could catch up with the digital revolution. Because the message was clear that Africa must catch up with the digital education. But now, the same model is being questioned in Europe, and countries are taking bold actions. Now, countries are partially or fully banning the use of mobile phones in schools. But before
Well done to France. I hope UK is listening. They have voted to ban social media for children under 15. They will be the second country to do this after Australia. This is not about blaming parents. It's simply about protecting our children. Children are growing up just scrolling, sharing, comparing, consuming, losing their connection with social skills. And then us parents are acting surprised when they wake up with anxiety, sleep problems, focus problems, behavioral problems, sometimes taken away from us through grooming and other grim crimes that they can easily get sucked into. France is clearly saying childhood is not up for sale. If Senate approves this could be put in force as early as September 2026. Phones could be banned in secondary schools. All accounts that are currently in place will be deactivated. No Snapchat, no Facebook, no TikTok, no Insta. Sounds just so healthy and an instant purge.
For that, let me tell you what is happening in Asia, because I am a teacher in Asia. So this is a problem in Asia. In Asia, students are not allowed to use their phones in class, but they can bring their phones. Now what happens is some of the students hide their phones, and when you are teaching, they will still be surfing the internet. I remember a time where I saw a student. She was actually one of my brilliant students in class. She was surfing, and I was see her pressing something under her seat. I went and checked. She was on ChatGPT. She was taking pictures of me and adding caricatures. She was giving me big ears and giving me handbag, and I was like, what? I'm teaching. Is that what you are doing? You are making me a caricature. What is this? You're supposed to be learning. And several times, the phones are seized, but it is given back to them. So that's what is happening here in Asia, right? I don't know of other place, but let's go around the world. So in Sweden, from autumn 2026, mobile phones will be completely banned for students aged 6 to 16. Now, students will hand over their devices at the start of the day. No phones in class. And the goal is to bring students back to focus, back to reading, and back to writing.
At Montgomery, Alabama's Carver High, the morning rush to school is now a morning rush to scroll.
Power your phone off!
New this year, middle and high school students now forced to lock away their phones before the bell rings.
When do they get it back?
2:45.
2:45.
Right.
Okay.
Principal Gary Hall pushed for the policy and the pouch to enforce it.
They were texting, tweeting, you name it, while classes were going on.
Put it in the pouch, man.
Here's how it works. At the beginning of the day, students put their cell phones in these pouches.
Once it's locked, it is really hard to get back open.
They can keep it with them, they just can't open them. They're sealed.
There you go. Have a good day.
This unlocking magnet, the only thing designed to free them. It's not completely foolproof.
We found a lot of cell phone cases with no phone.
For students,
Show of hands, who doesn't like the pouch?
it's a painful adjustment. While most parents are for the pouch, others fear their children will not have their phone when they need it most.
That is happening in Sweden. It's been rolled out already and it's already starting. And Poland is also stepping in. So in Poland, from September 2026, phone use will be banned for students under 16 years outright. All students under 16 years, phone use will be banned. Authorities are saying that smartphones are damaging attention spans and their learning ability of their kids. And that is very true.
The Netherlands has banned phones in the classroom. Dutch primary school kids are heading back to school without their phones, after the policy already came in for secondary students. But they're not alone. Greece, France, and the US have implemented or are trialing their own bans. The Dutch government aims to stop phones distracting students in class. And phone-free students in the Netherlands have reported better focus during class, more social interactions during breaks, and a decrease in cyberbullying. But is this too good to be true? One size doesn't fit all. Students with problematic phone use or who struggle with social contact found the policy hard. And students reported using their phones more after class. Schools can choose how they reinforce the ban. Some are asking students to put their phones in a locker during the day. It's not a perfect solution, but it's a start. Does your country have a phone-free school policy? Let us know in the comments.
They are on their phone. Regardless of what you tell them, they are on the phone 24/7. They don't listen, they can't concentrate. They're always on the phone.
Mobile phones are no more in New South Wales public high schools.
Here at Ashfield, there are lockers in every roll call class so that boys can put their phones away, take a card, and then collect them at the end of the day.
That physical barrier with the boys, I think that'll make it a lot easier.
A lot of my friends will listen to music or be checking their phones constantly throughout the day.
This will also mean that at recess and lunch, when students can no longer be using phones either, that they might actually be running around, playing with each other, interacting with one another.
And I know that the parents are extremely supportive of the policy.
France has already been ahead of this. So in France, phones are banned in primary and middle schools. And now the restrictions are spreading into higher levels. Now the focus is clear: to reduce screen dependency and improve learning.
A New York school has made a surprising discovery after banning smartphones during school hours. Teachers found their students could not read a traditional clock. The kids have been insisting that they learn to read an analog clock in first grade, but without practice, this skill seems to have slipped away.
The kids find it so difficult to write. Maybe they are lazy. Instead of writing, they would like to type. And because of that, they can't even write. Some of them cannot even write. It even gets worse when you give them the chalk to come to on the board and write. That is crazy.
The messaging, the guidance from the Education Secretary in this letter is very simple, and that is that there should be no phones in any area of the school whatsoever, the corridors, the playground, or certainly in the classrooms, and that parents as well should be reinforcing that message too. Are you comfortable with this additional guidance?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that keeps mobile phones and smartphones in particular in the spotlight is going to be beneficial for school leaders. I think we need to keep that narrative going, that they are not a positive influence on young children, and we need to maybe take it further and look at children having smartphones in the unstructured time at home when they're not supervised so much. That's where the real problems tend to happen.
And it seems that there will be an Ofsted involvement here as well, because when the inspection has taken place, they'll be looking at how you're managing that policy. Is that a wee bit too heavy-handed, or are you comfortable with that?
No, I'm comfortable with that. I think Ofsted's job is to hold schools to account, and something like that regarding smartphones, if it's in our policy, we should be operating that way anyway, so it's totally acceptable for that to be the case.
Okay.
So now think about this. When Africa was being told to abandon traditional learning, Europe is now turning to it. Back to handwriting, back to books, and back to focus. The question is, was Africa behind, or was Africa simply misunderstood? Because in Africa, the average student can write like a robot is typing, or can write like a computer is typing. Student can write. We are literally taught literacy. We have writing books that you have to write. So writing is part of our exercise, reading. So we have reading, writing, and all of those things. But in the West, it's faded out, and now some of the students don't even know how to write. So my question is banning phone the future of education, or should schools fully embrace technology? And what should Africa do now? Stay traditional or go digital? Because Africa is trying to catch up. They're trying to abolish all this manual system and catch up. And now the West that introduced that technology is now going back to take what we are trying to leave behind. So what should Africa do now? Leave your comment in the comment section. What should Africa do now? If you ask me, I think Africa should blend technology with writing. We shouldn't discard it completely, but we should blend it, because even today in this world, we even have digital TVs, digital iPads that you can still write, not in books, but on iPads. And the teacher can see whatever you are writing. When you go to America, teachers don't have to be solving all those lengthy maths, no, like we do. The teacher will be solving the maths on his small piece, and it will be displayed on the screen. So maybe we can look at that, so that students can still write, but in a more modern way, all right? Moving away from the traditional ways of doing things. And I think that will help. That's what I think. But what do you also think? Should Africa, drop it completely? Or what should Africa do? Leave your comment in the comment section. It's a wrap for today.